Hello, everyone's Forest Focus for our latest fan phone-in as we take your questions on all things Nottingham Forest. We'll discuss a bit of transfer stuff and the news of the day before, hopefully, some people who are watching live. Join us in the company of myself and Emily Williamson, in big capital letters in my notes, not Anderson. Emily Williamson, how are you?
I'm very good, thanks. I've not been on actually since I've been married, have I? This is the first time. So it feels like forever since I've been on. I'm really good, really looking forward to the new season. And from what I've seen in the podcast chat, I would say I'm the positive one.
Right, no, there's a camp pulling the curtains back on the podcast champ. There's a podcast chat. There's unicorns and rainbows section, which is definitely Greg with Emily as the deputy chairman. Then there's death and pestilence, which is Mark and Mikey. And then I sort of blow with the wind, I think, a little bit, but I'm probably more negative. And then Pete and Temps are
Yeah,
sort of in the middle, depending on the day, I guess. So yeah, that's
yeah. No,
that's
I'm
how it
feeling
is.
good.
Good, good. Well, it's good to have you with us. How are you
Thank
feeling in
you.
things about things generally Forest related? Then, when you take into account all the transfers and out potentially a few ins, it's been very divisive in the fan base. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, it's been a really rocky few weeks for us, hasn't it? And it's easy for me to sort of sit back while I'm not actually going on the podcast and sort of taking it all in and trying to be positive. But I really am trying to be positive because we had we've talked about this before. We massively overachieved last season, and when you do well, and when you're a club of our size doing well, clearly the vultures are going to circle and try and take your best players off you. We've already lost Alanga, which I was quite disappointed with. I'm not gutted, disappointed, but I feel like we can get over it if we can get, a couple of those wingers that I'm sure we'll talk about it through the door. I'm more concerned about losing Morgan Gibbs-White. We all know what he can do for our club. We all know what he's done. And I think I'm resigned to the fact that he's probably going. But I just hope we can make it work for us in terms of getting a really good fee and being able to replace him with someone in time for the new season, that we don't leave it too late. It all feels very unsettled and worrying at the moment, so hopefully that will get resolved soon. Really excited about potential new signings, although I try not to get too excited because until they sign on the dotted line, you don't know. Really looking forward to seeing what the new Brazilians are like, Jesus and Cunha. So that's exciting. I want the new season to start now. I did a draft Premier League, fantasy Premier League team last night, so I'm ready to go. It feels like it's not far off now. I saw the first game we played was against Chesterfield, pre-season friendly. Didn't see the Monaco one on Saturday because I was walking a marathon. Um, but yeah, I've just booked my tickets for Fiorentina today and the first Premier League game against Brentford at home. So it really feels like we're getting there, aren't we? And let's hope we can go into the season with some positivity. If we can get those signings that we've been talking about over the line, I think we go in quite happy, don't we? And if we don't lose any more big guns, and that's taking Gibbs White out of the argument because I feel like he's kind of out the door. But if we can maybe get Callum. Uh, Pinned down to a longer deal. We've already got Aina, Sells, Anderson. So I think it's okay. It's looking good, looking good. We need some positivity.
Yeah, we do. We do. We'll get into that as we go along. I'll drop the link in the chat. There's over 200 people with us, almost 250, which is great. So if you click on this link, if you want to join us, the link that's going in now, do join us. If you have been on before, great. If you haven't, don't worry. Ideally, leave your camera on because it makes me feel a bit more comfortable because we do this live. And we'll have you join us. How many? I've done about 6 FPL drafts, probably more. I did about an hour this morning. Any Forest players in it?
I can't. I never put Forest players in because I'm worried about jinxing them. Because you guarantee if I put a Forest player in, they'll get injured or they go on a scoring drought. 'Cause I think I put Chris Wood in for a while and then he didn't score for a few games. But my team name is in honour of my favourite Forest player. So my team name is Ola's Army. But that's as far as it goes with Forest connections. Just very briefly, can I just say how upset my husband Nick is, who we all know is a Leicester fan. He did his first draft tonight, and you have to, by the rules, put your favourite Premier League club in. And of course, Leicester City are no longer a Premier League club. So I said, "I'll just bung Forest in." He said, "Over my dead body."
Oh dear. Oh dear. I've got 3 players in mind at the moment. I've got
Yeah, who've you got?
Milenkovic, although it could be Murillo, Anderson, and Wood. I normally only have one, if any. So yeah, 3.
Well, they're all sensible options. And I guess with the new rules with regards to defensive midfielders and all that malarkey, Anderson might be a good shout actually with all the turnovers and stuff. So yeah.
And he's going to be on set pieces, I think, as well. I think
Yeah.
which maybe something we can get into. If anyone wants to talk about set pieces, then do jump on. Right, let's get into the callers. Got a couple waiting. It'd be great to have a few more, but we'll kick off with Paul. Paul, evening. How are you?
Hello, Matt. Good to speak to you again.
Yeah, you too. Are you well this evening?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Not too bad. There were a couple of things I was hoping that we could maybe touch on, if that's okay. One of them was just around the whole sort of debate about where we are, and I thought that Fletch was really quite good about it. You know, it's exciting, European football, all that kind of stuff, and maybe this summer has been kind of a reality check. I hate that word, but where we are. I mean, there's going to be ups and downs. Maybe we all thought that we get up, we stay up, and it's just going to be that sort of smooth upward curve. And maybe we underestimated the fact that you hit a few bumps in the road and you have to go back to go forward and all that kind of stuff. And there's loads of other clubs like Southampton who look like they were established Premier League teams forever, and then they've messed up. So I think maybe we need to be, maybe it's just a reality check again, that word, stop using that word, in terms of where we are. And the other thing was tickets. I know that you've touched on the ticket pricing situation, but the supporters club have had their away ticket allocation removed for this season, which was something that I don't think the club flagged up in advance. I think it was kind of sprung on them. And I know that in the big scheme of things, other people would have maybe more of a claim to be able to get access to tickets. But I just think in terms of the club as a whole, as a community based venture, and the club talk a lot about being in touch with the community and being part of the community, and the supporters club I think fulfills an important function there. I just think it feels a bit petty. It wasn't a huge number of tickets, and it just feels a little bit like pound wise, penny foolish, other way around. I don't know whether anybody else has flagged that up, but I just thought that was something worth mentioning as well.
I wasn't aware of that one. We did do a lot on tickets on Monday. I can see Pete's in the chat. He wants to do tickets at the live show. He's probably got an epic Pete Blackburn monologue ready about ticket prices, I think, on that front. Let's pick up on the first point that you raised. So I read all the comments, and Fletch got a lot of stick for saying, we should aim to be Brighton. I know people hate that analogy. We should, but finishing 8th, Emily, never finish. This is what he said: never finishing lower than 8th, getting into Europe and pushing to win competitions. I think that's a really good model to start from. I know people think we want to be Champions League, obviously. So are they saying, but you answer this in the chat as well if you want. Are they saying that we're Arsenal or Chelsea or Newcastle or Villa? I don't know where people. What people think we are on the food chain of the Premier League. Let us know in the chat. But what do you think about that, Emily?
I don't think we're Arsenal, Newcastle, Chelsea. I don't think we're there yet. And I've said this already tonight. We massively overperformed last season. I know Marinakis is a very ambitious chairman, and he wants us and he wants us to win trophies, and he wants to get us into the Champions League. And by the skin of our teeth, we didn't get into the Champions League on the final day of the season. But for me, I agree. If we can finish around the 8th mark, slightly better if possible, maybe slightly lower is not the end of the world, and we can keep getting into European competitions, maybe progress a bit further in the FA Cup, i.e. getting to the final and winning it. I think that's where we are. I see us now as a top half Premier League club, but probably towards the bottom end of that at the moment. I get why people are saying, that might be a negative outlook. It's not a negative outlook. I think it's just realistic.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're a bigger club than Brighton, but we've had one, and I'll throw this to you, Paul. I think we've had one top 10 finish in the Premier League in 30 years. So I feel like we're still climbing the ladder, and I don't think there's anything wrong with edging towards that. Obviously, we could say we're a Palace, and Palace won a trophy, and we'll come off people want to talk about Palace maybe, but I think we're not. Pete says we're dampening our ambitions. I don't see it that way personally. I think we're climbing the ladder, and to be a club that trades like Brighton, I think is a good place to be. So that was my take on it. What about you, Paul?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you've got, generally speaking, wage bill revenue equals success, doesn't it? I mean, you look at I'm sure if you looked at the Premier League over the 30 odd years it's been in existence, that the clubs with the biggest wage bill and the biggest revenue generally win things. I mean, it's you mentioned Brighton there. I mean, I don't know I was going to say the Withdean, bloody hell, I'm aging myself now. Their Amex is probably slightly bigger than the City ground, 32,000. I'm thinking maybe something like that. But Emily mentioned Villa, 50,000 expanding, Newcastle 55, looking to move to. I mean, in pure revenue terms, and Newcastle and Villa are struggling with PSR and getting players over the line. Newcastle fans are all complaining they can't, on paper, they're the richest club in the world and they can't attract players. So, I mean, and you look at Forest, 30,000 stadium, and realistically that, even with the planning applications, it's going to be a few years before that gets to even 35. So I think you've got to be, it's not being defeatist. I mean, I'm not saying you can't win things, but, you don't go into the season thinking, well, we're going to finish 10th and get the bunting out. But I think you do have to be realistic. And I think that idea of progression and developing and becoming an established Premier League team, which we're not yet, because in reality, 3 seasons, going to a 4th season, it's still relatively early in that development. And I know a lot of the guys have said that we overachieved, which we did, which probably pushes that forward a little bit, but it doesn't alter the reality that if we'd have got Champions League this season, we'd have still had the same problem, but Elanga may still have gone to Newcastle, Gibbs-White's head might still have been turned. So, and then there's a sustainability aspect. If we got in there this year, will players look at that and think, yeah, but what about next season? Are we going to bank on Forest having a better chance of Premier League or Champions League next season than say Newcastle or Villa? So to a certain extent, that's an irrelevance. I just think you've got to be realistic about where you are, as you say, in the food chain, and enjoy the moments and accept that certain players are going to have a shorter period of time at Forest maybe than others.
Just seeing if I can get I'll come back to it because they're not loading on my phone. It's too slow. Just before we let you go, Paul, actually, hang on. I'm going to read this out now. I've got it. So there's some holes in the argument in general, but Brighton's historical league positions, it's only the last 4 years they finished in the top 10 of the Premier League. I think it was 9, 6, 11 and 8. So they've only had 4 years and we feel like they're more established. Villa... Villa 6, 4, 7, 14, 11, 17 are the last 6 years. So they've had to build to get where they are. And then Newcastle are, this is in reverse order, 5, 7, 4, 11, 12, 13, 13, 10. There's the context around they got taken over by the Saudis there, which makes it a huge difference. But I just feel it's a building process, certainly. Paul, before we let you go, anything you want to add about anything really Forest related?
Yeah, no, I mean, I just, as I say, the ticketing thing is interesting, Matt, and I get the pricing thing that a lot of people talk about, but I just, and again, maybe this is, a legacy fan's point of view, but I just think the supporters club is about more than tickets as such. You've got a lot of people getting on in years who maybe don't have a lot of social interaction. The club's a big deal for them. Maybe they've lost partners or spouses. Maybe they're, let's say, socially isolated. And I just think that it's not just the game, it's the travel, it's the travel arrangements, it's the guys who work to organize tickets, people like Joan, for example, who's been doing it for God knows how long. And I just worry that you talk about losing the bit of the ethos of the club, and maybe that's an exaggeration, but I just think that's part and parcel of being part of the community, part of the city. And I wouldn't like Forest just to be like every other club where it's just all about the money and, we can flog those tickets for a few extra quid or we can charge people an extra membership or whatever. I just think, Marinakis, I don't doubt his sincerity when he says he wants to leave a legacy. And I just think maybe that's a part of leaving the legacy that he might want to rethink, and maybe a bit of fan power can do what they did with the Super League and get them to change their mind. Wishful thinking, Matt.
Yeah, it is depressing. Well, I think we'll pick this up on Friday on the live show, certainly. But I do agree about ticket prices in football and how you change it. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's pretty depressing. Paul, we shall let you go. We've got a few other people waiting to join us. A couple I can see, so we'll add them in shortly. But Paul, good to see you again. Thanks very much.
Yeah, you too, Matt. Thanks again. Cheers, Emily.
Cheers.
Cheers, Paul.
There we go. Good to have Paul with us. Got 2 more callers waiting, Derek and Edward. We shall get to them shortly. I'll drop the link in again because we're here for another half an hour or so if anyone wants to join us. Right, just before we do that, a word for the Trent Navigation. We have got our live show coming up. Eagle-eyed people on Twitter will have seen that Lewis McGugan is playing in a football tournament in Singapore, so he won't be there. And Kelvin Wilson has got a prior commitment that's come up. A commitment that has come up, so he can't do it either. So it's been a pretty nightmarish few days. Nigel Jempson has kindly agreed to step in, so Gemma will be on the panel, and I'm working hard to get a second ex-Forest player or a second guest of note. So don't panic. I'm sure we'll be able to get someone good in, but it's great to have Gemma on board. Obviously, Greg, Pete, and Mikey will be there as well. So there are still tickets available, and they're a £5 from gigantic.com if anyone wants to join us for that. And I'm sure it will be a good night. We've got lots of good prizes. We've got 2 signed shirts, 1 Murillo, 1 Hudson Ndoye from last season, and all that money will go to charity raised from that. And I will go to the Forest Club shop. So I was supposed to order some Forest podcast mugs. I totally forgot, and they won't arrive in time. So I'll buy some, and we'll get those signed on the evening as well. So join us for that. If you're really, really close to Nottingham, you can watch the Lionesses game. Excuse me. In 40 minutes time, if you want to get down the nav for that as well. So there's quite a lot going on, and there's a few gigs coming up as well. So check the Trent Navigation website for all that. Right, I'm going to have a coughing fit soon. So let's add Derek in. Derek, evening, how are you?
Well, actually got the Lionesses on. I'm down in Devon.
Oh, lovely.
But,
lovely.
I'm one of the older people that Paul was referring to, probably. I used to work at Forest on match days, stewarding back in the 90s and the noughties. And one of the claims to fame is that James Perch used to play for me under 10s and under 11s.
Oh, yeah.
Before I recommended him to Forest. But,
wow.
So,
did you think he was going to make it to the first team?
Oh, absolutely. He was brilliant. In fact, I actually converted him to a centre half.
Oh, yeah.
When he played at under 11s, he used to be a striker. And then he started playing at centre half for me at under 11s and was absolutely brilliant.
Oh, so, lovely.
Yeah, sort of good days back in the mid-90s with Perchy.
Excellent.
One of my other lads that played, he actually coaches in San Diego now. In the States. So, I had a good team. That was at Ravenshead Reds.
Oh, lovely. Lovely. I'm sure, a few people in the chat might be familiar with them.
Yeah. So I'm one of these people that's sort of watching, and keep, Forest from a distance. Although we got quite close when they played at Exeter back in February by my son sponsoring the Exeter captain. We managed to get 10 tickets for that game. And they kindly got me to go and have a chat with John McGovern, before the match as well.
Nice.
As we were just finishing the meal. And
how are you? How are you feeling about things today then? About the summer and how it's all shaping up?
Well, it's a little bit, as you say, disappointing in some respects. That there's lots of uncertainty and things, dragging on a little bit. But that's probably the nature of things. And I see Crystal Palace have put in an appeal today, which seems to prolong which European, competition we're going to be in. So that obviously will affect the finances, slightly. But there seems to be some good players that are being talked about, but you're never quite sure whether that's talk or actually sort of, fact of what's actually going on. And as we've sort of got the defence, held together, probably need another fullback there, but the midfield we seem to be pretty strong. So it's looking pretty good in my opinion.
How are you? Are you worried, Emily? Did you see the Monaco game? Are you worried about a lack of creativity, or are you patient around it, Emily?
Really patient around it. And I didn't see the Monaco game because I was busy doing other stuff, but I would say it's pre-season friendly. It's the second pre-season friendly, and I'm assuming we had 2 different teams for each half, so I wouldn't worry about that at all. And at the moment, in terms of our big hitters, we've only lost Alanga. I know Gibbs-White's on his way out, but we've still got Anderson, who, as I'm sure you saw, absolutely ripped up the under-21s Euros. He was brilliant. We've got potential creativity coming in. Ola Reina, we know, has got pace, and he can he can sort of work his attacking magic as well. There's plenty still there. Callum Hudson-Odoi on the other side, with his creativity. I don't tend to worry about the pre-season games, to be honest. I went to a couple last year, and they're quite boring, really, aren't they? It's just a chance to see the players have a run out. It never feels too competitive until you get closer to the start of the season. So no, I don't hold too much weight on the fact that we didn't do a lot against Monaco and we didn't really do much against Chesterfield either. Doesn't worry me at all.
No.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add, Derek?
I think one of the dangers is that we make some panic signings, and we've, I think, probably got 6 or 7 players listed as first team or in the squad at the moment, that need to go. There doesn't seem to be too much movement on, people like, Dennis and, Turner and the like. And I think we need to offload some of those to not create another Harry Arter. I was a bit disappointed to see Sosa go. I don't know what the story was behind that, because, I quite like the look of him. I thought, he'd got some potential there, but there may be a backstory that I'm, not aware of there.
I think they thought, I'm probably thinking that this is probably my thoughts, that he's just the physicality of the Premier League, and I think he's 26, and I think a decent offer came in for him, and he's decided to take it. I mean, it just leaves us short of wingers, as Fletcher was saying. Jota's probably going to go, Elanga's gone. We need proper wingers as well, I think. So Dan Ndoye is probably the only one we've really been linked with who's a proper winger. So there's a lot of work to do in that area, certainly. Yeah, I think so. Right, we've got lots of other callers waiting.
Right. Yeah, thanks, Matt.
No, I was sounding like I was rushing you off there, but no, that was interesting, especially the Perchy stuff, Derek.
Plenty of room for other people.
It's great.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see the Forest flag being flown all over the country. Enjoy Devon.
What part of Devon are you in? What part of Devon are you in before you go?
Exeter.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I couldn't miss the FA Cup match, so my son managed to sort of get those tickets sorted out in that way, so that was good. And it was a very late night as well.
Good on him. Right, we shall let you go.
Enjoy the Lionesses, Derek.
Cheers, Derek. See you later. Bye. Good stuff. Right, let's go to Edward, who is here. Good to have you back as ever, Edward. How are you this evening?
I'm not too bad, and yourselves?
Not bad. Have you got a new Twitter account, or did you shut it down? Are you back, or what's going on?
I'm trapped in a Kafka-esque nightmare with X. Twitter would never have done this to me, so it's too complicated and boring for me to explain. I actually didn't realize I had another account. I'd forgotten I'd set it up, so I just kind of had to fire that up and just trying to sort of reintroduce myself to.
I thought you got a clone, or you've been hacked or something when I saw.
Yeah, no. A few people have kind of Chris Aylmer kind of I had to do almost like verify your human test for myself.
Well, you verified yourself tonight. What would you like to say?
I have. Well, just belated congratulations to Emily on her previous nuptials.
Thank you so much.
Although I do recall one of the funniest bits of advice I ever got when I got married was a colleague of mine says, when he heard it, he says, "Well, you can't be happy all your life." So I always hold that one. But I suppose I missed the start, so I'm assuming we're talking transfers and squads and ticket prices and all that.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, but
whatever you want to talk about.
I'm eternally. This is the close season, the off season, whatever you want to call it, is since I can remember, as long as I'm a football fan, is the most hopeful and wonderful time of the year, because I'm not disappointed by anything. We haven't lost a game yet. Nobody's been sent off. We've not, got involved in some off the field scandal. It's a wonderful time of year for me. But from the day the first ball is kicked to the last, that's when I'm miserable. But I enjoy the summer. So I'm total Greg Mitchell at this time of year. So I love this time of year because there's hope and there's anticipation and there's excitement. Like, people are saying, "Oh, you need to get your business done. You need to get business done." That's fair enough. But, PSR and this year the Club World Cup with the, the weird kind of split transfer window and having to do business before the 30th of June and trying to get bargains, and then having to be stuck with players from the 1st July and trying to offload them while still trying to get bargains. So, it's complicated, but I do like it. And, I think we're going down the right road. Once you see, like, growing up, you had no idea what went on in the club other than what you saw on the TV news or Match of the Day or Sports Night or Grandstand or Football Focus, Saint and Greasy, whatever. And then as you get older, there was Club Call, there was Teletext, then there was Sky, and now you have 24/7 agent talk and Fabrizio Moran and David Ornstein and John Percy and all the rest, and you take or leave who you want to. But I think we're going to get some good business done. I think we're going to try and do it in as economically efficient a way as we can. And hope like Elanga going I was disappointed because I thought he would step up another level with us, having probably his best ever season as a professional footballer with us. Thankfully with us last season, but players are players. I don't shed any tears for players going. Last time I was really disappointed with the player going was Roy Keane, so I gave up after that. There's no point hanging on to them. They don't care about us. We care about them. It's unrequited. It always will be. So I just keep going. So Alanga's gone. Good luck to him. He did us some good service. Morgan is going to be a different kettle of fish now because I don't see how the Spurs thing is going to happen without us extracting more cash from them. Or them saying, okay, we're just leaving this is too much hassle now. And now you have the Man City stuff coming back in again. I don't see where Morgan's going to fit with the players they've bought in the meantime, with like Cherky and Reinders. I didn't see where he was going to fit at Tottenham. Was he going to replace Maddison? There's Kulusevski. Obviously Brennan's there as well. You have Bergval. You have all these players, occupying those spaces behind Solanke. So, where was he going to play? So I don't know what's going to happen to him, because obviously if you're going to sell him, you need to sell him this summer at the height of his value. But then obviously we were all blindsided by the secret release clause. So, what's going to happen there? We don't know. And I don't know what's like, if we hang on for another year, okay, hopefully he stays, he performs, he signs a new contract. That would be the ideal. I don't think he's going to sign a new contract. So what do we do? Lose him for less money next summer? So, that's a real mess. That is, I have to say. What you want is a good, clean exit. Goodbye. Like a language,
Yeah. I'll ask Emily about Morgan in a minute. You made a good point there about the other clubs as well. I've got the table in front of me, and there's quite a few clubs that are struggling to do business and get their targets. If we go alphabetically, I think Villa they've been frustrated. Brentford are having all sorts of problems. Vissa's left their camp today. Palace haven't seen do much. Fulham I haven't seen do much. Newcastle have missed a ton of targets. Langa's the only one they got. West Ham are really struggling. They sold Kudus, who was one of their two good players. So we're not really the only ones. Just on Gibbs-White, Emily, I mean, the only team I think he would fit, I actually think he'd fit in at Arsenal really well tactically, but I don't think they're going to buy him. So are we going to get to the point where Morgan might just have to bite the bullet and sign a new contract and just wait a year or something?
Yeah, I was really surprised, like you said, Edward, about the Tottenham link in the first place, because that's the position that they're actually really, really well stocked in, aren't they? And if they are to sign Gibbs-White, what does happen to Maddison? And arguably Gibbs-White is more versatile than Maddison, so maybe it would be Maddison's the fall guy. But yeah, I mean, I live in a rose-tinted glasses world, and I'm still like, there's 5% of me that thinks maybe Morgan's going to actually sign a contract and stay with us. But yeah, where does he go if he doesn't go to Tottenham? The Man City link is still bubbling away under, isn't it? But again, it doesn't seem like that's really going anywhere. Potentially Arsenal, but the best thing for us as Forest fans is if he stays with us. But I just can't see it. I just think I don't know. It just feels like it's gone too far. I just want a resolution, whether it's we get a little bit more money out of Tottenham, but we all know Daniel Levy can be quite tight on the old purse strings, so he's not going to want to pay any more than he wants to pay. So it could rumble on and on with a legal battle, couldn't it? And I don't know what message that sends out. Will that potentially put players off wanting to come to our club? How is it going to affect the dressing room if players know that Morgan does want to move on? So I just want a resolution either way. In an ideal world, if I could have my wish, of course he would stay. We'd sign him on a 5-year contract, give him a bit of a wage increase, and everyone would be happy. I just can't see that happening.
Just before I go back to Edward, Gary, thank you very much for the £2. Appreciate that. That's very kind of you. I mean, I suppose the other thing, I'm asking the wrong person here, Edward. hear the whole question, but he could have gone to somewhere like Saudi Arabia and made a ton of money, but he wants to play in a World Cup. And if he goes abroad, he's going to find it hard to get picked because Thomas Tuchel, I feel, has made it pretty clear you've got to be playing for certain clubs. And as an Irishman, you don't care about that, but Morgan probably does. So he's sort of backing himself further into a corner in that sense, isn't he?
Well, unless he changed his name by deed poll to Jordan Henderson, he's in trouble. Yeah, I would think so. But yeah, I absolutely appreciate that. We've a almost equivalent situation in Irish rugby here, where if you're an Irish rugby international and you go and play abroad, like in France or England, and leave an Irish club, you're pretty much out of the Irish rugby team. So it's just the way it is. So it's obvious Tuchel has imposed those kind of conditions on people too, and I can understand. He's coming at 26. This is his prime World Cup, because he'll be 30 at the next one. There's no guarantee where he'd be. Who knows where he'd be in his career? So I can totally understand his personal motivation to play for his country, and take the opportunity if it's there while he's in the prime of his career to get a move. And if Tuchel is, as has been said and reported, wants people at more prominent clubs, then you can understand his motivation for going. Forest bought him as a promising player. All the stories indicate that Steve Cooper was kind of like, that was his red line in the sand kind of purchase. It was him or I go. And we paid a decent whack to Wolves at the time, I think totaling up to 44 or 45 million pounds with add-ons and everything in the end. So they're probably wondering what the hell is going on too, waiting for their cut of the deal. So it's like, he served us well. Has he been 100% consistent all the time? No. Has he? But at the same time, he's created so much. He takes so much attention from other players because of the focus on him and what he can and can't do. And and there was always that potential for him to spark something, even on a good day, or whether it be a good day or an average day for him on the field. And it was a joy to see him play. No more than yourself. I share a great love for Andy Reid as my fellow countryman and as a wonderfully skillful player in his own right. But Morgan is as close as I've seen, certainly in the last 20, 25 years, and certainly since Collymore before that even, with the ability to change a game on their own or influence a game like that. So, he's done a great job for us. He was our fantasista, as they say in Italy, our number 10. So, if he carries on and Emily's ideal world comes through, and I hope it does, it'd be great. But I think too much water going under the bridge now for that to happen, and I think he'll be gone somewhere. But yeah, his options are shrinking.
Yeah, that is
the only thing I'd say is I'm in another chat as well as the podcast chat with Greg, a different one where we talk about.
It's more positive.
It's a more positive chat, but in that chat, I've said this to other people as well, but I think I said it to Greg, that there is no one that's bigger than our football club, and players will come and go, but we'll always have Forest and we'll always be Forest. And, we've lost players like Collymore in the past, and that was devastating, wasn't it? And I was gutted when Andy Reid left. But we'll move on. It will be gutted as and when Morgan Gibbs-White leaves, but we'll find the next one, the next big superstar for the club. So just remember that we'll always have Forest, and also remember that the players don't love Forest like we love Forest. So it's all about the fans in the club, I would say, and the City Ground. So keep positive.
We shall let Edward go because we've got two more callers I want to get to before we finish. But thank you very much, Edward. Good to see you again.
No, thanks for having me on once again. And come on, you Reds. Talk to you soon. Bye.
See you soon.
See you, Edward.
I think that's a big point about the way we view a club and the way fans view a club. And I'm probably slightly in the middle because I think I've done too many years sat in press boxes and I've lost that pure appreciation that Greg, Mikey, you guys that sit in there that travel the country. So I sometimes feel I'm a bit unqualified to talk about some of that stuff. Talking of feeling unqualified, Dan says it's turning into an Irish sport chat room. I know nothing about Irish sport, and of the 400 people watching, plenty would say I know nothing about Forest as well, I'm sure. Right, let's get to our last two callers, starting with Brian. Brian, evening, how are you?
Good evening. Very well, thank you.
Brian.
Yeah, I was inspired to join by the gentleman who managed Young Perch. I've got his original shirt here.
Hey,
oh, original,
brilliant.
Lovely. Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a nice signed one. The only signed shirt I own, so I took it as a bit of a sign to join after following for a long time. So
lovely stuff. Good idea. What would you like to talk about?
I'd like to talk about the fact that I'm a bit worried about chasing signings that are, looking at the prices. We're looking at 30 million, 35 million, which, let's face it, they're not too far off what we're looking at selling, our best players at. If you look at it it's all well and good saying we could get Ndoye and maybe we turn him into a 60 million player or a 65 million player. But what's frustrating me a little bit is that I feel like there's other signings that we've been good at in the past, like Milenkovic for 10 million, etc. Igor Jesus, I think, will be great at the money we've got him for. He looks really handy. But Norwich have just picked up this Danish kid from Brøndby, for example, an immediate replacement, Mathias Kvistgaarden. And he looks really good. He's really done well. And you might say, okay, it's Brøndby and whatnot. But my problem is more, if we can get people like Dennis and all of the others off the books, which is what we need the squad space. And I'd like to see us, looking at players like this a bit more. I've got En-Nesyri and a player called Dejan Jovic, who's playing in the States, 25-year-old Serb, who's doing really well. Can play as a striker, can play as a winger. It's like, I'm all for, we're going to need a big name. I'd like to see Luiz come in. I really would. I think the centre of the park really needs Douglas Luiz. I think we need set pieces. We're going to miss Elanga, who came really good with set pieces towards the end of last season. I think that's going to be something that, of the two of them, I don't particularly like Gibbs-White's set pieces. I think many people probably support that. But yeah, I'd like to see us get Luiz in. But I'd like us to be careful that aiming for these players, maybe picking up one, two, and then missing out on a whole group that become what we've been good at last season when we were in this period. First of all, that's my first comments. I don't know what you think about those.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a market. Emily can come in on this. The Elanga £15 million winger market domestically doesn't seem to be there this summer. And that's a big problem because it feels like we've shopped in it. And there seems to be a few names out there in Europe. Like this is a fullback, but Maffeo I see we've been linked with, and another fullback who plays for Verona. And I don't know nothing about them, to be honest. And if it becomes concrete, I'll do more on them, obviously. But the domestic market of finding a bargain feels very difficult. And Milenkovic, I think Milenkovic was probably a freak deal domestically, Emily. I don't know how we pulled that off. But yeah, what do you think about what Brian said there around the bracket that we're shopping in?
Yeah, I get that. I just think we are in a different bracket now, though, aren't we? Because we've had this hugely successful season. So when we did sign Elanga for £15 million, were any of us that excited? Probably not, because he wasn't really doing it at Man United, was he? And when Milenkovic signed again, that's the most ridiculous bargain of the year, isn't it? These bargains like Milenkovic, Elanga, Hudson-Odoi, Aina on a free, they're really hard to find, and I just think we've kind of gone up a notch. So I guess 30 million seems like a huge outlay, but actually is it when you look at where we want to be in the league and the type of player that we want to attract? I totally agree. I love the idea of getting in a young project, someone that's maybe unproven in the Premier League, a bit like Nico Williams, who then has a standout season and you can't imagine him not being in the side anymore. Anderson's another really good example, although I know we paid quite a bit of money for him. But I just think we're in a different market now, and that makes it really difficult to find those players, which is probably why we're not making all those signings, because we've gone up a notch. But I still think we'll get there come Brentford in August. I think we'll be absolutely fine. But I know what you mean. You don't want to splash out cash on a Jadon Sancho and then him be a flop, because we can't afford to do that. But yeah, and Douglas Luiz, I'd be very much into him.
Yeah, I don't know if that's ever going to gather pace. It feels like it might. If it's going to, it was probably now on Douglas Luiz. I saw some reports of he's flying over with his representatives, so we'll see about that. Let me throw a few names at you, Brian, then quickly, and see what you think of them. I've been very big on Amari Hutchinson, who is in that 35 million pound bracket. Robin Hood says here about Arsenal fringe players, so I suppose probably thinking there of like Reece Nelson. I mean, Trossard might go, but I think he probably out of our league. Maybe there's some at Chelsea, like is it Tyreek George or something like that who you could get on loan? Are any of those kind of names appealing to you, do you think?
The one that's the most appealing, I think, is Amari Hutchinson, and I think that this is another thing which is maybe not mentioned so much, which is the homegrown rule, and shifting out Elanga and Gibbs-White and whatnot, who are all representative of that. I know that we do quite well in general. When you see the top clubs, they've got like seven players, I think, 8, they're on the limits. We've been quite good and we're within it. But it's one of those things, you want that provenness, and I think Hutchinson has that. I don't think George at Chelsea has it. I think he's also benefiting from playing in a good player, a brilliant player, but he's benefiting from the team that he's in amongst, which has been mentioned about McAtee as well. I mean, I'd love to see us. There's another player who I'd love to see us sign. I think Temps made a good point. He's one of those players where you say, okay, we paid 30-something million for him. You can definitely see him turning into a 60 to 70 million pound player. Like you can feel that. I think that I was watching, as I say, Temps, when he said that towards the end of the window there'll probably be some really great signings to be made from the big clubs. But yeah, I mean, for me, a signing like Hutchinson would have been superb, and that goes against a little bit what I was saying earlier in terms of picking up these players on the continent like Chris Garden and that, because obviously there's a balance to be made, and I just feel like at the minute where, okay, it looks like we're still holding on to Jota Silva, we've let Sosa go, but the depth of the team, as proven at the end of the season, and now it just feels like, it is getting weaker. We need to have a blanket, 7 or 8 people coming through the door before the window shuts. So
just before you go to your other point, I know you wanted to raise one other. I've made this point about Milenkovic as well, but I think it's a good point. The way he plays probably doesn't suit the really top clubs. Nikki, trying to remember, Nikki loves your hair, Emily. I've seen a few comments of people loving your hair, and I'm sure you'll be pleased to hear that. So I thought I'd pass that on.
I'll be honest with you, it needs washing, and I just did a touch of dry shampoo, but I probably shouldn't say that, should I?
Well,
10 minutes before the podcast, it didn't look like this.
Well, yeah, no one's commenting on my hair, but mine's...
Your hair's beautiful.
Well, no one's commenting on your hair, Brian.
I love yours.
Oh dear. When we were on holiday this week, and my 2-year-old nephew walked up to me and said, "You've got no hair," right in his face, which made me laugh as well. But there
my
you go.
daughter did that to a police officer when she was younger, so don't worry.
Brian, what was the other point you wanted to make before we let you go?
Just a little one, which is English player, homegrown, 18 goals in 24 appearances in an international league. Who is it?
English player, homegrown. Oh, Sam Sturridge.
He could have been handy to have held on to. I still feel like he was a very good player, an excellent finisher, and I know we let him go like we did, but I'd rather have had him hanging around than Emmanuel Dennis, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, I don't
He
disagree
knew where
with that.
the net was, didn't he? I just think his pace wasn't quite up to it, was it, in the Prem? But I think you're right. He could have been one of those players that we'd have developed and had as a backup. But maybe he wanted to play more football. He was never going to be first choice, was he?
He wasn't the right player, I think, at the time, the way we were setting up the team. But I think that's been the other topic of this pre-season, is are we going to see the same style from the team this year? I mean, okay, Nuno has a specific way to play, but he could have been a player that fits in a lot now. And as you say, he wouldn't have held on. But watching him knock in the goals and being top with Lionel Messi in that league is...
Yeah, it's interesting. Right, we've got one more caller to get to before we go for the England game starts. Thanks for calling in, Brian. Appreciate that, and do call in again, definitely.
Keep up the great work. Thanks a lot.
Oh, thank you. Cheers, mate. See you later. Bye. Right, last caller. We've got about 5-10 minutes to go. Sharmake in Kenya. How are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you doing? Good to see you guys.
Yeah, good to see you as well. Good to see you. Is that an England shirt you're wearing? It just looks like one from afar.
This is an England shirt. I'm preparing for the Lioness.
You're supporting the game tonight. That's good.
I want to watch the Lioness after this podcast.
Yeah, Emily's off. I'll watch it as well.
So you've got 11 minutes, and then I'm out of here.
Yeah. What would you like to say?
Good. I would like to pick up on a point Emily said. We love Forest. I mean, whenever I hear the word Forest, or I hear the name of my club, Nottingham Forest, I'm absolutely filled with joy and happiness and love. I love the club.
You're just like me.
Yeah.
Just very quickly, Sharmake, I went on my honeymoon to Italy in Sorrento, and what did I see in Sorrento? a young girl in a Forest shirt, and I had to go up to her and I had to say, "You Reds," and she just sort of grinned at me, and you just go, "Forest are massive."
Yeah, Forest are massive. That is the spirit of Forest fans. Forest fans love each other. Whenever you see a Forest mate, I mean, you have to hug him. This is a very good club.
Yeah.
This is a very good club.
Have you converted anyone in Kenya yet with you to support Forest?
I'm on my journey to convert some fans to becoming a Forest fan. I mean, I've now succeeded bringing some of them from other clubs to my club, Nottingham Forest. So I'm getting some fun. Yeah, I want to build, I think, a bunch of Forest fans here in Kenya, called Forest Fans in Kenya, Nairobi.
Oh yeah, start a supporters club.
Yeah, you could have the Nairobi branch, couldn't you?
Yeah, the Nairobi branch. I mean, I absolutely feel like I'm responsible for creating a Forest fan group here in Kenya, although they don't exist right now, but I'm trying to gather some.
We're relying on you. The more popular we get and the higher up the table we get, we'll get those Glory fans on board, whether we like them or not.
It's my responsibility. It's my responsibility. I have to sell the ideas and the values of my Forest Football Club to other people who are in Kenya. I mean, I absolutely feel responsibility. I mean, I'm good. I'm delighted to be back on the podcast. I was away for the last, two fun calls you've made, and I'm good to be back. I was just trying to learn and shadow some English, British, modern British Abbey accent. I was just like learning some pronunciation to look like British, but I don't know. I'm going good with it. And 2 points I would like to talk. One, the Crystal Palace issue. Forest European fate have not been yet decided. Our future in Europe is still undecided. And the longer this continues, I think this will disrupt our transfer plans. And I've seen Crystal Palace lodge an appeal to CAS today.
Yeah.
And I think they say the decision will be made on the 11th of August, which feels like a long time away from now. And I think it will disrupt some of the processes going on in the club. So I think Crystal Palace appealing their demotion from the Europa League, I think they might not win it in CAS. And I think their argument on defense of saying like they didn't know the rules. And I think Steve Parish calling like we didn't know the rules and we deserve to be in the Europa League, I think doesn't sit right with me, and it will not sit right with the CAS. And I think the decision you ever made, they didn't make it lightly, and they reached with absolutely agreement with other authorities. So I think Palace are in a hot water, and I don't think they will win this appeal in CAS. And the Forest might ultimately get their place in the Europa League. And I'm absolutely fine if we don't get a Europa League place next season, because we might get a very good chance of winning the Conference League if that's the competition that we'll be playing. But I think I want this decision to be sorted out very quickly before the 11th of August so that we can bring in the players that we need, put our policies and strategies in place, and give Nuno the type of players and the quality that he needs to strengthen the squad and boost it. So I think, but also I've seen Boris playing our owner, Evangelos Marinakis, and also playing in Nottingham Forest. So I think what Boris is doing is sweeping his incompetency under the carpet by blaming other owners. And I think he has to take the blame. I think this is Crystal Palace's own fault. They knew the rules, and this is a rule that was in existence since 2010, and it was reinforced in 2017. So I assume Crystal Palace owners should have been across the position, and they should have known their obligation. Are you losing your internet connection?
No, we can hear you.
No, not at all.
The only thing I was going to say, I'll interject there and just say the reports say it's on or before August the 11th. So I think Sharmake's right. It needs to be before August the 11th because what's that? 5-6 days before the season starts. So that's too late. And also, I agree with what Sharmake said about Steve Parish. I've got quite a lot of time for Palace, but that interview with Gary Lineker, it felt like he was really deflecting and trying to throw a lot of shade our way when, you know, there's a lot of things that people could look at Palace for, even if the rules might be wrong. It feels like he was sending messages to his own fans to deflect away from him. There's 2 or 3 minutes before the England game. So, Sharmake, we'll have to let you go, but good to have you with us as ever. Thank you very much.
Good to have you.
Sharmake.
Yep, good to see you. Thanks, mate. See you later.
Come on, you Reds.
Come on, you Reds. I think you'll have to let him go. His internet's a little bit dodgy. That was good. Any final words, Emily, before we depart?
Just very quickly, on Saturday, I briefly mentioned I finally did my charity hike for Macmillan Cancer Support. I did 26.2 miles and I've got 5 or 6 blisters to prove it. Can't really walk. If you sponsored me, thank you so much. And if you want to sponsor me, check out my social media channels and you can see the link. But honestly, the hardest thing I've ever done physically in my life, I think. I don't know how anyone's ever run a marathon in their life. So just to walk it was really tough. So that was the only thing I wanted to mention.
I'll put the link in the description if people want to sponsor Emily as well. So, yeah, well done to Emily, as Lee says. Great effort. And I'll put the link in the description. We shall be back tomorrow with David Jackson, Thursday with Mikey and Greg, and we'll do some news. I'm looking forward to that because they've just got polar opposite attitude to all things Forest. So that'll be interesting. Friday was going to be something with a former Forest youngster, but I'm going to switch that and that'll be out next week. And Friday now will be with Chris Cohen. So we'll do a bit of chat on, you know, his coaching, Lincoln, and some of these Forest young lads who are going out on loan, including one he coached last year. So join us for all that. And Saturday we'll have a post-match show when we've played Fulham. I can't remember who we're playing. Sorry, I think it's Fulham. But we'll have a post-match show on that. I should have made better notes. Right, if you've enjoyed that, do us a favour. Do hit like, do hit subscribe. Do consider membership or Patreon or just lovely 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. Do consider getting your live show tickets as well. We'll put on a good show with Gemmo and everyone else and hopefully one other guest. But in the meantime, Emily, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, lovely. You were distracted there, but you got there in the end.
I was reading a note that said "Come on, England," and then I looked at the clock and I was like, "Come on, Matt."
Oh, sorry.
No, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Come on, England. Come on, you Reds.
Thank you. We shall go. Emily's going to run and watch the game, and I'll pop downstairs and watch it too. Thanks for coming, everyone. And if we don't see you tomorrow, we shall see you soon.